From beating Anthony Joshua twice to now getting ready to face Tyson Fury in the ring, Alexander Usyk has come a long way. But now the question is, what's he gotta do to beat Fury? Well, Mike Tyson has some advice for Alexander. Tyson's all about Fury versus Usyk at the moment, and from what I know so far, it's hard to tell whose side he's on. But he surely wants Alexander to know exactly what he needs to do if he wants to beat Fury. The former undisputed heavyweight champions definitely not expecting Usyk to get into a realistic kind of fight. Nor does he think that the fighter has any chance of beating Fury, unless Alexander stands his ground. Looking at the fighter in question, he has a career that's better than many. He holds the IBF, WBO, WBA, and IBO world titles. But when it comes to Fury, he might not be that good after all. The one who wins this fight will become the next undisputed champion of the weight class. So yes, it's a big deal. Fury, on the other hand, enjoys the physical advantage in size, since he's actually much bigger than his opponent. And this is exactly why most critics believe that Usyk will have to use his footwork and speed to get some points against Fury. But Mike Tyson thinks this strategy will backfire. He stated that Alexander should instead go about things in another way. The former champion believes that the judges will go for Fury if Usyk keeps up with the same strategies in this fight. According to him, it's necessary for the Ukrainian to gain some respect by actually fighting and not relying so much on his speed only. And Iron Mike might be right. Looking at all the fights that Alexander fought so far, one thing's very common there, and that's him using speed to dodge shots from the opponents.
Both men looking for the big shot. Good jab by Usyk and followed up by a backhand.
HA still seemingly not quite fully balanced. A little off kilter.
You know, that's exactly how he won against Joshua twice. Tyson stated that if the Ukrainian plans to keep running forever, he won't be able to do that, because Fury will get him in a corner somehow. He stated that Fury would get him with some punches and would hurt him eventually. Not just that, he also stated that Usyk could run all night, but in order to win here, he actually needs to stay and fight. According to Mike, there will come a point where he'll finally have to stand his ground and actually fight, because apparently he can't do the usual here. He can't expect to run and box all night and still win the fight. After all, with that happening, the judges won't even give him the decision, especially when the opponent is Fury. The judges already know about his previous fights, and after they saw him fighting against Deontay Wilder, they know what Fury's all about. With that said, it looks like Tyson has some expectations from Fury. He believes that Fury will come away with all the gold. He's said it multiple times, and it doesn't look like he's expecting anything good coming from Alexander anyways. While talking about Fury, he stated that he'd want to see the Gypsy King be more active in 2023. Apparently, he wants him to go for more fights this year, since it's the peak time in his career. Mike has said it bluntly that Fury will win, and he thinks that Tyson should go for more fights now. He keeps taking a lot of time between fights, which isn't good. Then he gave the example of his own career. He said that he fought 15 times a year and that he's a strong believer in fighters having around 4 or 5 matches a year at least. To be honest, I've got to agree with him. And the fans do as well, because they want to see a lot more of him. With that said, you must also want to know about the upcoming fight. So you ask, and I serve. The two fighters are in negotiations at the moment. The fight has been proposed, but the two need to give confirmation. The fight will be the first undisputed heavyweight title fight of the 4-belt era, and will take place on the 29th of April. The venue's also been decided, and the fight will happen at London's Wembley Stadium. Before this, the organizers were actually hoping to take the bout to Saudi Arabia, though that didn't work out. Apparently, they wished to go for the kingdom's new state-of-the-art stadium in Jeddah, but unfortunately, it'll be ready by November, so it won't be available for use until then. For now, everyone's just hopeful that this showdown will be finalized soon. After all, this won't just be a fight between two fighters, but a clash between two different styles of fighting. So yes, it's bound to be super interesting. And while I'm on the topic, it's important to go back in time a bit, because you might want to know what Joshua said about Usyk. After fighting the speedy boy, Joshua had probably learned his lesson, and that was when Fury also understood what was going on. While talking about it, Joshua stated that he's now identified mistakes from the defeat of Alexander. He also confirmed that Fury has advised him to change his game plan dramatically and swing away when the rematch happens. Now, this was back in 2021, but from what I see so far, it looks like Fury had actually gotten what Alexander had been doing. Joshua also said that he watched the fight, analyzed his preparations, and also identified the mistakes he made. Apparently, this made him learn his lesson. He also asked his fans to not worry about him as his spirit was strong. But the problem is, he lost against Usyk once again in the rematch. So, what does that mean? Could it mean that Fury saying there's no secret or rocket science to boxing was actually an incorrect statement? It's hard to say for sure. Now, it's about time I recall what Fury had said after Joshua was beaten by Usyk. He believes that the new fighters have just made fighting too technical. According to Fury, the new fighters don't let fighting stay simple. He believed that it was just two men punching each other for 12 rounds or less. And technically speaking, he wasn't wrong about that. But for him, the road to success only consisted of going to bed early, eating right, drinking plenty of water, and getting stuck in. Now, the thing is that these are the things that almost every athlete does. Even the Ukrainian probably follows the very same lifestyle. So why are some getting beaten up while others are winning? That's a question that Fury needs to answer, especially if he wins against Usyk in the upcoming bout. But at that time, he had also mentioned that if one game plan isn't working, the fighters should be changing it up completely. This makes me wonder if he's also changed his plan, given that Alexander is actually using a unique tactic to win against his opponents.
Shots by Usyk. It's Do you believe this?
So far, from what Mike Tyson has been saying, it doesn't look like Fury needs to change anything. It's his fighting style that keeps making the former champion so sure that no one can actually beat him. In a recent interview, the Iron Mike said that he knows that Fury won't make the same mistake as Joshua, and by avoiding the same mistakes, he'll be able to cement his legacy and position as the first undisputed heavyweight since Lennox Lewis. That was like 2 decades ago. And when it's about undisputed champions, Iron Mike actually knows quite a lot about it. So fans must believe his word. That's it from me on Mike's advice to Alexander on how to beat Fury.